The Nerdmobile, Episode 8, recorded on March the 11th, 2020. Hi everybody, how's it going? Hey guys, it's me, Francis. I don't know why I decided to go with that opening. Hey guys. I love how Francis's voice goes from like duh to like very fast. Hey guys, it's me, Francis. And I just gotta tell you guys, it just changes out of nowhere. I just gotta tell you guys, this coronavirus is so fucked. I mean, they canceled E3 for this shit. What the hell? Sons of bitches. Oh boy. Remember when Francis and all that kind of stuff was funny? When everybody thought that the guy was real as opposed to like just an acted character. And then everybody knew that the character was fake, and so he kind of started doing a bit more like sketch comedy surrounding the character. And it kind of wasn't fun anymore because, you know, there really wasn't that question of like, is this real? Is this not real? And also the guy, I think like Boogie is his name. Boogie Tonight at 8. Yeah, like the dude got really thin now. He had like surgery and he got himself like new teeth and everything. The guy looks like a totally different person now. And yeah, he changed a lot. Both in appearance and maybe not as a person. I mean, I say that because Boogie has currently a lot of controversy surrounding him, where people are kind of judging his character a lot based on the stuff that that he has said recently. Because I guess he was sort of typecast as like the nicest guy on YouTube, and him being such a sweetheart. And I do kind of believe it. I feel like his heart is in the right place, but he kind of goes about things kind of wrongly. I don't know if wrongly is a word, but he's just a little misguided, and it's a little dangerous for him to speak in a very ignorant fashion for a lot of his viewers, especially when he's kind of an inspiration for like, he was super duper fat and he's still going at it and still trying to like get fit, and he got a surgery and now he's thin. That kind of stuff. And so he's saying a lot of dangerous things like, it doesn't matter if I die, whatever. I'm looking forward to it. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm just eating as much as I want, like how he did it when he was fat, It's like, because, I'm depressed right now and that's what makes me feel good, and I just want to do what makes me feel good. That's what life is all about. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like the guy's being he was self-destructive at the beginning, and then he tried to fix himself. And the moment he felt thin, the moment when he thought that, I'm fixed now, okay, back to self-destruct mode, just eating a lot of stuff and saying batshit crazy stuff. And a lot of people have called him out on it, and the dude has kind of just ceased to care. Yeah, it's weird. A lot of people are kind of watching him now just for, like, the meltdown and not necessarily for entertaining content. I mean, the dude has been kind of whatever. Whenever the guy actually tries to, like, make something, like gaming videos and news and commentary and stuff, he's just like any other YouTuber, just a person with an opinion talking to the webcam, and that's kind of it. The thing that kind of, made him famous was sort of like all of the fat jokes, essentially, and all the Francis skits. And those, eventually, they kind of ran its course. And they had, actually, Boogie had another character like Jesse, with like the southern accent and all that stuff. And that was funny too, but, a lot of those things didn't really have a lot of legs. And so, yeah, he's kind of drifting away right now. I remember the dude was like the biggest thing and everybody loved him. And I don't say the biggest thing as like a fat joke. I don't mean it as like, wow, he was so big. Like, no, he was big, and he was also very popular on YouTube, I guess, to clarify. Yeah. But anyway, I have no idea why I'm talking about Boogie Tonight at 8 now. Just immediately, on a dime, just like in less than a few seconds, some stupid thing can come across my mind, and that can be a topic for like 20 minutes. Can I talk about other like washed up YouTubers now? Is that going to be the topic? I kind of don't want it to be the topic. I mean, this podcast is called The Nerdmobile, and I barely talk about video games. I mean, at least I've recorded around like 7 episodes now, and this is the 8th episode. So like, which ones have I actually talked about games? I mean, on the first one I talked about mobile games and Infinity Blade and stuff. I've talked about Game Boy games, portable games and stuff. yeah, the Final Fantasy VII remake demo, I talked about that a little bit. So yeah, I've actually been talking about games. Just not as in-depth as I would like, because I've been talking about other topics that are technically not nerd-related, but I am very opinionated and passionate about them, like not submitting to political correctness or crappy reaction channels and stuff like that, or like the future of what content creators might come across at some point. I don't know, man. I did not prepare for this shit. I just looked at my Google Maps and it said, oh, 57 minutes of traffic? Okay, great opportunity for me to record a podcast. So I'm just kind of here talking, rambling, word vomiting, whatever comes into my mind. And so here's something that just came into my mind. The PSP Go. I was talking to you guys about the PSP Go not too long ago and how I really, really wanted one. And so I found it for like $150 on Amazon, which is not bad, but at the same time I said, okay, I have not done any other research any other place. Usually on eBay you can find these kind of things for way cheaper, of course. The quality isn't as good. You'll find some that have like a scratch or two, but I usually don't mind. So I said, you know what, I don't care if it's a little worn down, as long as the buttons work and it, it works fine and it charges and it comes with the cables and everything. I personally don't care. So I went ahead and I went on eBay, and I never go to eBay, like legit. I mean, there's so many websites for ordering things that people go to, like AliExpress and eBay and all that kind of stuff. I personally, like, as far as I go is Amazon, and I know that, Amazon is technically not the best place because it is a bit more expensive than just some random person that, sells their shit on eBay. And when you look at old video game consoles and stuff, I was looking at a Game Boy Advance SP. I was searching for a PSP Go, and then I searched for a Game Boy Micro. And I was saying, oh man, the Game Boy Micro is gonna cost like $1,000 or some shit. Nope, there's a lot of them. Even like the 20th anniversary like special edition, Famicom edition of the Game Boy Micro is like $130, which is like so much less than I was expecting. And so I'm like, hell yeah, man. Totally. I want to get in on that. Yeah, totally, bro. Yeah, bro. Yeah. Your mom's hot, dude. Yeah, for sure, man. What? She's like your mom. Dude, she gives me like signs, bro. I don't know if you guys have seen that video, but it's really funny. I was like, yeah, I mean, she's hot. The only problem is that she's like my mom, Yeah, so before I get distracted on some other bullshit, let's focus on Nerdmobile, nerd culture on wheels talk. What's nerdy? Video games. And what's even nerdier than that? Trying to find old-ass video games and buy them off of eBay. So, I was searching for a PSP Go, and there was a bunch. There was like the black one and the white one, and then there was like a special, like super cool, like purple one that had almost like a holographic kind of effect. It almost looked like one of those purple Huawei phones. And apparently it's an upgrade. It's like, okay, if you send me your PSP Go on the mail, then I will upgrade it and give it like 128 gigabytes of memory, and I'm gonna like, super duper shove like custom firmware and like this awesome, purple plate, and like the screen is better. Like this super mega update for the PSP Go. And it costs like 50 or 60 something dollars to send it out or whatever. And that sounded cool, although the problem is that I hate sending stuff over the mail. It's such a drag, it's such a hassle, because you have to like fill it up with like protective, bubble wrap or whatever, make sure that it doesn't move, and yeah, it's a pain. Also, going into the post office, just in general here in America, is like one of the most soul-sucking, most like awful things you could ever do, That and the DMV are like, if you want to lose all of your faith in humanity, if you just want to feel hollow, then yeah, you can definitely go to the post office and go to the DMV. Ooh, this is my jam right here. Oh, by the way, yeah, fair warning, I plugged in my iPod Classic, and I have it plugged into the car, so, you can listen to music here. This is Deja Vu from The World Ends With You. I'm going to turn up the volume just so that you guys maybe can hear a little bit of it. Yeah. Da, 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 da. Fantasy. The World Ends With You has such a good soundtrack. But yeah, I was looking up on eBay, and I was seeing a bunch of different PSP Go things. And so I'm always assuming that because it's an old console, it's going to cost a lot, right? And some of them do cost a lot. I mean, there were some that was like, oh, I have a PSP Go that's like white colored, piano white or whatever, or piano black. And it comes in the box. It has the instruction manual. It's in mint condition. It's still shrink wrapped and all that stuff. So obviously those cost around like $700 a pop, right? But then there are other ones that are obviously opened. They're used. They don't come in the box. They have some scratches and a little bit of wear and tear. And they're like, yeah, it's obviously used, but it's in good condition and all the buttons work, I swear. And some of them even come with games. For example, the one that I ordered had two special things in it. One is that it came pre-installed with a bunch of games. It's like, oh, it has like Spider-Man Web of Shadows or something, and it has Def Jam and this racing game. It just comes with a bunch of PSP games. And on top of that, it's a custom firmware PSP, so like a hacked PSP Go that says, oh, you can download games for free on this, which to me I'm assuming is like emulators and stuff like that. So, if you want to play NES and Super NES games on there, then I guess you can do that. It doesn't really matter much to me. I know that if you try to do hacking on the PlayStation Vita or whatever, you can potentially get in trouble, because I think there's some software that you can download for like the homebrew version of the Vita or PlayStation TV, where you can like legit just go into the PlayStation Network store and just download all of the Vita games and stuff for free, which is something that I am not particularly okay with, because the PlayStation Vita already had problems selling copies and stuff, and it is not necessarily obsolete. You can still go to their store and still buy their games and stuff. So that's my personal rule, like if I'm gonna emulate something, it has to be something that you cannot buy anymore, that is not on the stores anymore. That's my rule. But if I can still, go on my account and still find a bunch of games that I can buy in the store, then I'll just wait for a discount. I would very much rather give those developers my support, obviously. But if it's like a 30-year-old NES game, then yeah, fuck it, whatever. But it comes with a lot of pre-installed games, and it has that custom firmware that I guess lets you download emulators or whatever. I don't particularly have a problem with having that on a PSP, because obviously that's an old console. It's irrelevant. I mean, hell, even the Vita is irrelevant now, because it died and it resurrected. Again, God gave it a second chance as the reincarnated Nintendo Switch Lite, because let's face it, the Nintendo Switch Lite is literally just a reincarnated, new and improved PlayStation Vita. It has a very similar form factor. It just has more color and more quality and better games and stuff. So yeah, one of the big reasons for why I want a Nintendo Switch Lite, despite me already having a regular Nintendo Switch, is because I love my Vita. And there's just a lot that I want to. There's a lot of games that I want to play that I don't necessarily want to, stream all the time or do Let's Plays of. Or who knows, maybe I do want to make a Let's Play, but I just want to play it on my own first, It's just cool. I love portable consoles, man. They're so cool. I like the form factor. I think the DS, the Nintendo DS and the Game Boy Advance SP are two of one of my most favorite consoles, right alongside the Vita. I like the PSP just fine, but I think the PSP Go is going to be one that I like a lot more than the regular PSP, because that one had like those UMDs, like those discs or whatever that you shove in there, and those were noisy, man. It was like you were shoving in like a cassette tape on a stereo, You would shove it in there, and you had like this weird like protruding like disc tray coming out of the PSP, and it was always very flimsy, and you had like weird metal coming out of it. I always felt like it would break, legit. And if you don't insert it perfectly, like it could get stuck, and it can really fuck with the game and stuff. And yeah, like for real, I was always afraid that I would break the game. And so when they started introducing this thing of like installing the game onto the memory card, onto the memory stick, I thought that was a cool idea. And so when the PSP Go came out and they said, oh, it's going to be all digital, you're not going to be able to like, have like the UMD thing on there, you have to download all of them from the PlayStation Network store, which in part it does suck, because I'm sure there's a bunch of video games or like movie license stuff, or things that never made it over to the digital market that, you know, you're never going to be able to play on a PSP Go. Well, you know, how am I going to play my PSP copy of the movie licensed King Kong video game if I can't shove in my UMD in there? How can I watch my UMD copy of Spider-Man 2 if my PSP Go won't let me shove the thing in there? You know? But honestly, just frankly speaking, because now in the modern day, in 2020, you know, the times are different now. It's not like back then where, you know, physical copies were a lot more prominent. And, you know, having an all-digital future was like a concern. It was like a problem. It was like, uh-oh, all digital? I don't know if I like that. I like, you know, what about all my discs and stuff? But now, fast forward like 10 years later, and people would very much rather do digital more than anything. You know, it's like, what? Now it's the opposite. You know, it's like, oh, I gotta get up from my chair and get up like 2 steps forward, and I gotta open like a box and and like take out the, like very painstakingly describe every single little mundane act that actually takes like 5 seconds. You know, I gotta take out the disc and then like move my arm and then like put it on the console. What? You know? They're so bitchy and moany over something that everybody did for like the last 30 years, you know? Shove the cartridge in and out, shove the disc in and out. That was never a problem before, and now you guys can't even fucking get up. That's how you guys are gonna end up all fat like in that WALL-E movie, where everybody has big, giant fucking bagel feet. And yeah, you guys don't wanna move or do anything. I, for one, don't mind switching around discs and stuff, because just so you know, here's a little life hack for you guys. There are a lot of physical copies of games that end up being cheaper than the digital copy. You know why? Because digital copies, they stay the same price, you know, especially when it comes to Nintendo games. There's so many Nintendo games where if you buy them digitally, they're going to cost $60 or $50, and they're never going to change. And it's like, oh, we have a special Nintendo sale. And it's like, oh, the $60 game is now 10% off. So like barely a discount. It's still going to be expensive as fuck. But if you go on Amazon and you find a physical copy, you'll probably find it for way cheaper, like 40 bucks or so, especially if you're looking for old 3DS games. You're going to find them for 20 bucks or 30 bucks. Yeah. Just letting you know, this is why I personally prefer physical copies, because for one, if, you know, the consoles get old and it's not profitable for Nintendo or PlayStation or anybody to have certain stores, you know, like the PSP store is gone now. If you actually want to have games on your PSP, you have to go to the PlayStation Network store, you have to download the PSP game onto your computer, and then you need to have like special like PlayStation software that is used for transferring this stuff. Like you have to plug with a cable, you have to plug in the PSP to your computer and then transfer the game over to your PSP. Or you can do that with a PlayStation 3 as well. If you still have a PS3, you can go to the PlayStation Network store, you can download the PSP game onto your PSP, and then you can plug in your PSP Go over to the PS3. And then you can like, it'll say like, do you want to transfer the game over to the PSP? And it'll let you. Which, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a lot faster for me to download it on my computer with Ethernet as opposed to like the slow-ass PlayStation time, you know, download time. But it is really weird that, you know, if you want to play games on your PSP, then you either need to have a UMD, you know, one of those weird-ass discs, or you got to plug it into your computer and just download the game straight out of your computer. So, yeah. That's how you have to do it, because there's no way for you to go online anymore on PSP. Now, on Vita, you can still do it, but, you know, the store is empty as fuck. I'm not empty, I mean, like just dead. You know, there really aren't any big, you know, game releases or anything coming out for that thing anymore. Even though there's still a pretty big backlog, you know, if you guys want a lot of games to play that are good, get yourself a PlayStation TV. They cost like $20. And, yeah, I have 2 of them. I have an English one from a US account, and then I have a Japanese one from for my Japanese account. And I download like visual novels and demos and imported games and stuff like that. And that's on top of all of the American games that I have that I still need to catch up with, like deluxe bundles of RPGs and collections and a bunch of indie games and stuff, you know. I really wanted to buy Shovel Knight for Vita, because that's really where I wanted to play it. I think it's awesome to be able to play Shovel Knight on Vita. But I ended up playing the whole thing on 3DS. I have that, and then I have the Spectre Knight or whatever expansion, but I never played any of the other ones. I really got to get in on it. I think now would be a good time for me to do like a Let's Play or something for Shovel Knight if I'm going to go ahead and, you know, play the full version, I guess. Treasure Trove or whatever. Yeah. I remember when Shovel Knight was like 15 bucks. But as they kept adding more expansions and stuff, they kept increasing the price, which it is worth it. You know, the game as it is now is a lot bigger than it used to be. So I think it deserves it. Plus, Yacht Club Games are some very good developers. They're really nice and they're very talented. So yeah, I think in terms of like platformers that I've played recently, Shovel Knight is definitely the tightest, sharpest, well-designed one that I've played in a while. Because there's a lot of games that, you know, they're either one of two things. Either one, they do that nostalgia bait of like, look, our game looks old and retro. Yeah, play us. And then do like Princesses in Another Castle references and bullshit like that. Or they go the way of I want to be the guy, and then they just make it super duper punishingly hard. Like Cloudberry Kingdom or what's this other game? I forget what the name of this game is. Oh, Electronic Superjoy. And I like both games. I love I Want to Be the Guy. I love Electronic Superjoy, and I love Cloudberry Kingdom. I think Cloudberry Kingdom I like more than all of those. It's just fun. I like the atmosphere of it. I like how it sort of very steadily increases in difficulty. It's really fun. I have that game on PS3, I'm pretty sure. And I've enjoyed it pretty much every single time I play it. Yeah. But, yeah, that's 3DS. And I'm sure that on 3DS there's also, like, homebrew firmware and stuff where you can download games for free and whatnot. I don't feel comfortable with that. You know, usually when it's stuff like the PSP or whatever, where like you don't have online access anymore, especially for a console that is all about digital downloads, right? Where you can't download the games anymore straight out of the PSP. But honestly, when I think about the backlog that I used to have for PSP, I mean, I had quite a bit of games. I sold them all. I don't have a single PSP game anymore. And I don't have a PSP either. I sold that one too. And so, but yeah, as the days have gone on, as I've gotten more and more acquainted with the PlayStation Network and PlayStation Plus and, you know, downloading and buying many different games, and, you know, all of them keep going on sale, and then you have the classic PlayStation 1 games, and then the PSP games. And then if you have a Vita, you can have PS1 games, PSP games, and PlayStation Vita games. So yeah, if it weren't for those memory cards being so fucking expensive, I would have all of that and more. Jeez. I hate that they have like proprietary memory and all that bullshit. I would have loved it so much more if they just let you put any old SD card in there or micro SD or something so that you can just shove in like a terabyte of memory and just have every single game ever on there. That would have been amazing. But no, I have like 32 gigabytes, and I'm there like constantly deleting games and re-downloading a whole bunch. Yeah, that's kind of where that attitude of mine comes in, where it's like, you know, I am not going to download or buy more games until I beat at least a couple of these, you know? And some games, a lot of the Vita games that I have are not necessarily games that you can beat, quote unquote. You know, they're like fighting games or like puzzle games, stuff that don't necessarily have an end. And so I try to chase after RPGs or games where I can see the credits roll and be like, all right, I'm done with it. And then I can just save my save file up on the cloud with PlayStation Plus and then delete it. Because for some weird bullshit reason, the PlayStation Vita doesn't let you save the Vita save data. So if you have a PlayStation 1 game or a PSP game, yes, it lets you save all of those files onto the system. But if you have a Vita game and you delete it, that's it. That save file is gone. The only way that you can save your save files beyond, you know, after the game is deleted or whatever, is that you need to have a PlayStation Plus subscription, and then you have to upload it to the cloud and then delete it. And so when you re-download it again, you press like a little PlayStation Plus symbol and you can download the save file. Which, you know, it is pretty convenient if you have cross-play with another console. For example, I bought Iconoclast, and I'm pretty sure that game has it was cross-buy. So, like, if you buy the Vita version, you can also get the PS4 version. And so what I did is that I played a little bit of the Vita version on my PlayStation TV, and then I said, you know what, I want to play this on my PS4 from now on. And so I uploaded the save file to the cloud, and then on my PS4 version, I downloaded that save file from the cloud, and it works just fine, and I can keep going, you know? That's cool, but like the simple fact that you just in general, you cannot have your things saved up, that's fucking bullshit. I don't like that. There's literally no reason for it to happen. Oh, and you can download Vita games onto your computer as well. It doesn't mean you can play them. It's literally just the file, which makes it overwhelmingly easy for people to like hack into those files and just emulate them, you know? Usually there's a lot more like hacking work that people have to do to make ROMs and stuff for PSP games, PS1 games, and all that stuff. But if, you know, PlayStation does this thing where like, okay, PSP games, PS Vita games, you can literally just download the whole fucking game onto your computer. And it's obviously made in like this like strange, weird format that I don't understand. But like any hacker can just like, oh great, you literally just like, you know, delivered it on a silver platter, the game that I'm gonna like open up. You know, I'm gonna open up the kernel and, you know, just hack it so that it's a ROM so that people can download it for free or whatever. And, you know, because it is the Vita, I don't know. I don't know if PlayStation even cares. So, you know, I don't think they'll be like Nintendo, where it's like, oh, our 40-year-old NES games, no, you can't have them up here. We're going to sue you for like $1 billion, you know, just so that we can keep them and we can just literally take the exact same ROM and just charge you like $5 for it each, or we can have it be a part of our online service, and we're not going to, you know, release any of these like 800 plus games at all. We're only going to have like 2 like every 3 months or something. You know? I don't think anybody would have been angry over the Nintendo Online service if Nintendo just, you know, went all emu paradise on us, you know? If they went coldroms.com on us and literally just had every single NES game on that service, you know? And have like a search feature where you can just like, you know, search it up. I mean, I know there's like movie license games and stuff. I know you can't have every single NES game on there because, you know, you can't have the movie licensed Batman game on there because obviously there'd be trouble, or like, you know, Warner Brothers or whatever, they're going to want a piece of the pie as well. So, you know, they obviously don't put games like that on there. But, you know, any game that you can get your hands on, just put it out there, you know? And again, these games are like years and years and years old, so like who the fuck's going to care, you know? And, same thing for the Super NES one, and like the Game Boy one, and the Game Boy Color, and the Game Boy Advance one. That'd be great, you know? That would actually be worth paying the price that they're charging, you know? Because paying that just to have internet access, just to have online access, I think that's kind of bullshit, you know? This is where like the whole hashtag PC Master Race thing can really come in, because, you know, yeah, obviously the internet is technically not free on PC, because obviously you have an internet service provider and you pay for your internet that way, right? But like, there's no payment on top of that, right? Steam, GOG, all of these other places, they're all free. You know, you can just interact with people and chat with them and play with them online, right? And for Sony, the PS3 also had, you know, free online and stuff. And I think for a short amount of time, the PS4 also had free online, before they made it so that you required PlayStation Plus for you to have any kind of online access at all. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. It was Xbox Live that kind of started with the subscription thing first, before anyone else. And so everybody kind of jumped on the bandwagon, although what they forgot is that Xbox actually does the online thing super duper well. I think out of all of the online services, I think Xbox still got it going, especially with their Xbox Game Pass, where like they have 1 billion games that you can just download and play and stuff. It's a lot of value. It really is a lot of value, especially if you have a PC, because I think a lot of that stuff also counts for PC too. So yes, I think Xbox right now doesn't have a ton of new and interesting games coming out, but you sure as fuck have a big backlog that you just keep, you know, putting out there. And yeah, it's a lot of games. It's a lot of games. It reminds me of PlayStation Now, where, you know, you could just not buy any games and just spend the monthly subscription on PlayStation Now. You do not even need a PS4 for that, You do not even need a PS3 or a console, PS2, PS3, PS4. You could just not buy any of that. All you need is a PC and like an Ethernet connection, a wired Ethernet connection, and a PS4 controller. And there you go. Just load up PlayStation Now, pay the subscription, and I don't know about you guys, but for me, it works super well. Again, on PC, with an Ethernet connection, with a PS4 controller, right? And you can save yourself the $400 or whatever on a console. And of course, it doesn't run optimally. You know, it still runs at like 30 FPS and all that stuff, but there's no lag for me, and I've been able to play a good chunk of games for a good chunk of time. I've played Loco Roco 1. I think that game in particular, Loco Roco 1 is the game that I've played the most, and is the PS4 version of Loco Roco, so it looks really pretty. Wild Arms 3, I think, is on there. I'd play that if I didn't have my original PS2 copy already. Just recently, they added Knights of Azure and Knights of Azure 2, which pisses me off because there was a sale for like, oh, you know, here are a bunch of like cool Japanese game sales. And so, I was debating on what games to buy because I had already spent a bunch of money on games that same month. And so Knights of Azure 2 was on there, and I'm like, oh man, I really, really loved Knights of Azure 1. It was such a good game, and I really wanted to play the second one. I never got around to playing it, and it's been out for so long. And so it went from like $60 to like $20. And so it's like, all right, perfect, PS4, let's get it. And so I bought it for $20. And like literally, just the other night, I checked PlayStation Now and it's like, oh, recent releases. Knights of Azure 2, you can just stream it. At no additional cost to the subscription, which is what Google Stadia is fucking up on right now, because Google Stadia, they want you to pay for like a pro account or whatever, but on top of that, they want you to pay for the games for you to be able to play them, which is bullshit. This is why PlayStation Now is so much better, because all you need is the subscription and that's it. And you have like a billion games to play. I was playing House of the Dead. House of the Dead. House of the Dead 3 on PlayStation Now, and it works great, and it's really fun. I was playing Loco Roco, I was playing Pixel Junk Eden, I was playing Pixel Junk Shooter, I think. Now granted, not all games work well, but there is an asterisk to this. There's a bunch of games like Wolfenstein: The New Order, Doom, Call of Duty, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, all of those shooter games that require a lot of precision, fighting games. All of the BlazBlue games are on, no, I think all of them except maybe Central Fiction. Oh, no, wait, I think Central Fiction is on there. Yeah, I think, like, legit, all 4 BlazBlue games are available for streaming on PlayStation Now, which I think is fucking fantastic. But yeah, you cannot necessarily play those games and not struggle. Again, if you have a super duper strong internet connection, like the one that I have, then yeah, you're not really going to have a whole lot of problems. But even then, a lot of these games still run at 30 FPS as opposed to 60. But a solution, one thing that you can do is that if you have PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now, if you're paying that subscription, you can go on your PS4 and you can go on the PlayStation Now app through the PS4, and then you can download the game, which is another thing that PlayStation Now is doing better than Google Stadia. And for some reason, no one is talking or caring about PlayStation Now, despite them being better than Google Stadia in every way, is that for some very select games, not all of them, but for some very specific games, particularly ones that require a lot of precision and a lot of, fast movements and stuff, like fighting games and shooters and stuff, they allow you to download the game so that you can play them offline, which is amazing. Like that, there's no lag and shit. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. And I'm pretty sure that there's that Wolfenstein game that I tried to play, and it was super laggy. It had a lot of delay, and I wasn't able. I legit was really, really trying to play through like the first hour of that game, and I got killed immediately. I was playing Time Shift as well, and that game also had a lot of delay. So what I want to do is that I want to download all those games so that I can play them with no lag. Actually, Time Shift, I don't think they have it on PlayStation Now, but I do have it on PS3. I think I'm confusing my PS3 disc with the PlayStation Now streaming. Yeah, that game is not as good as I thought it would be. I remember a long time ago, when I first got my PS3, I only had one game. I remember this was back in the day when the PS3 was super expensive. You know what? It cost like $800 or whatever to get the PS3. Yeah, I remember I saved up a ton of my money, and my dad had to contribute and like fill in the amount that was missing as well. Like the PS3, fuck, like I still use it today, so it was definitely worth my money, you know? But I bought that big fat PS3, and it cost like $800, and then I had to pick a game for it, you know? I think there was some special promotion where it's like, okay, you know, you can pick whatever game you want from that shelf or whatever. And I ended up going, because I was thinking, okay, I can only have one game. What game can I play that will like last me for a very, very long time, and I'm not gonna like, you know, bellyache about getting another one, you know? I don't want my fun to last just 10 hours, right? And so I ended up going for the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. And I still haven't beat that game. I remember I got really addicted to that game. I did play it a lot, but I never beat the main story or anything. I was always, you know, gallivanting around doing other stuff. Until this day, I still haven't really seen what that game has to offer. Like the Knights of the Nine expansion or whatever, like all of those expansion packs for Oblivion, I never played those at all. Now, granted, I do have my Steam copy of Oblivion. And again, fun fact, Oblivion is the very first game that I ever bought on Steam as well. And so, that was like the Game of the Year edition that comes with all the expansions as well. So, that was cool. And so I've still to, you know, get to those parts. Maybe I'll do a live stream where I'll play Oblivion, like, legitimately. Although the game really isn't as fun as compared to Skyrim, and definitely not compared to Skyrim with mods or Oblivion with mods. My entire life, I have played Oblivion and Skyrim both with 0 mods. It has always been the vanilla experience for me, and I've always loved it. And so I feel like I am severely missing out on what the game can truly become if I decide to mod the game. The problem is that I don't know how, and I'm too scared that I'll like break shit, because, you know, stuff happens where like you update your computer or you update your game, and, you know, stuff breaks and you have to figure out what's wrong. That happened to me with Brutal Doom. You know, if you take Doom 1 and Doom 2 and you add the Brutal Doom mod to it, then yeah, it's awesome. But the problem is that not all the settings work. I tried playing Doom 1 with a controller and it works perfectly. But then I tried playing Doom 2 with a controller and it's an absolute complete fucking mess. And so it really depends, man. Some stuff doesn't work, some stuff does work. And then after like a few months of not playing Brutal Doom, the game went through some updates, and then I updated my computer. I just did a bunch of stuff, and the mod doesn't work anymore. Like I launched the game and it just launches regular like MS-DOS Doom. And so what I have to do is that I have to go into the folders again. I gotta go and look up the tutorial on how to install the fucking thing. And so I just gotta go in and just, you know, install the mod again and make sure that it works this time. Yeah. Which again, it was never something difficult. It's just time consuming, and I'm always very panicky about like, okay, this file is this file, and then I gotta rename it to this thing exactly. I don't want to fuck it up, because I usually fuck it up. So yeah, and then after that, you know, I break something and I don't even know what I broke, so I had it, you know. The best thing that I can do at that point is just completely uninstall the game, re-download it again, and start all over, you know. So yeah, you know, mods, I've definitely been thinking about it, especially with the VR version, because I have Skyrim VR on PC. Now, granted, I have like 60 hours on the PlayStation 4 version of Skyrim VR. I think that's going to be like my playthrough, you know, that's going to be the game that I'll be playing. And again, there's a bunch of like expansions and shit that I never got to play for Skyrim, and so I'm experiencing them barely for the first time in VR, so that's awesome. And I already beat the main story for Skyrim on VR, so literally all I have left to do is just do all of the quests and explore and join all the guilds and become the most powerful boy in the world, you know? I don't even know what character I am. I'm pretty sure I'm like a wood elf or something like that, because I've always liked stealthy, thief, rogue kind of characters, especially like people that know archery very well, because when you're in VR, God, the best feeling in the world is pulling back on that bow and arrow and just releasing and hitting someone. That's always awesome. And then when you have like the special skill that lets you have like a crosshair where you can aim correctly and even be in slow motion and shit, that's awesome. Yeah. I don't really play Skyrim VR all that much on PC because the battery on my 2 wand controllers. By the way, I have a mixed reality headset. I have a Windows mixed reality one, and I have their like proprietary like motion controllers and stuff. I don't know if you can actually pair other controllers, because one type of controller that I was really wanting to go for is those Oculus Rift ones. You know how you have the Oculus Rift S or whatever? They have like the brand new and improved one. And so the controllers for those are fucking bitchin' ass good. They're very, very nice looking, and the buttons feel great and stuff. I tried like a display model on like at a Best Buy or something, and my God, the controllers are amazing. And in terms of the headset, man, if you had the PS4 headset, the comfort, if you had the comfort and the build of the PS4 headset, along with the screen resolution of the HTC Vive Pro or whatever, and then alongside that, the Oculus controllers. Like, the thing is that all of these VR companies are really good competition because they all have something good about them, you know? For Oculus is absolutely, definitely the controllers. They are amazing. They feel awesome. They feel great. They feel really nice and snug in your hand. The buttons are cool. I love the sticks and stuff. It's awesome. I just don't like that, you know, Oculus has its own proprietary launcher and software and their own store. You have to buy stuff from them, and that's a pain in the ass. But then you also have the HTC Vive, and that one has the big advantage that the headset has a really high resolution, that it's a lot more techy, you know, it's a bit more advanced. The problem is that it's a little bit heavier, and then you have like these other headsets, like the HTC Vive, the regular one, and then you have the Pro that apparently isn't that good, and then you have the one that's like the Revive Rift or whatever. There's another like brand new one that costs like $1,000, and then like the controllers are also like super duper advanced. Yeah, the Revive or something like that, I forget. It has some other different name other than, because it's not HTC anymore, I think. It's like the Valve Index. Yeah, I think it's called something like that, and it's supposed to be like super duper like HTC Vive times 100. So yeah, that on like the specs is probably the best, and I hear, and I've seen videos of those new controllers from the Index that apparently those are like really bitchin' ass good. But I don't know, they seem a little bit too big and bulky. I personally like the Oculus Rift ones because they are small and, you know, they're easy to put away and stuff. Yeah, so they have that going for it. For Vive or Index for Valve, they have the tech specs for sure, and they have the entirety of the Steam library for you to, you know, get into. And then for Oculus, you just have like a really sleek, nice design, and the controllers are amazing. And obviously it's a brand new company, so it's more competition, and the more competition, the better. And then you have Windows mixed reality, and that's essentially a bunch of companies like Dell or Hewlett-Packard and stuff. They're all making their own little headsets. They're all essentially the same thing, and the controllers are pretty much the same as well. And so that one is competition because, for one, it's affordable. If you want a cheaper headset for your PC, those mixed reality ones are the way to go. And on top of that, those work with everything. You do not need to, you know, have special allegiance to Oculus or Valve or anything like that. You know, the mixed reality ones are mixed, you know, hence the word mixed, because the Oculus software works on it, Steam VR works on it, the proprietary, you know, Windows VR hub portal works on it, everything works on it. The only problem is that those stupid motion controllers look so stupid, and on top of that, they work on AA batteries that run out after like 20 minutes of you using them. When you're in VR, they do this cool little thing where like you can actually see your remote controllers inside VR, and so you can look at the back side of them, and you have a little bar that is your battery, and you can see it going down in real time. And literally, the moment you turn it on, after a fresh pair of batteries, they're already halfway. Like, I'm not even fucking with you. They're already halfway down after just barely replacing the batteries with new ones. And so, yeah, it's a fucking money sink having to, you know, spend money on AA batteries. And then, like, I was researching and trying to look for rechargeable AA batteries, and it seems like a lot of them just don't work. or like they explode. I've seen like those Amazon batteries, and those don't seem all that good. I mean, you would assume that they're good, but you see the reviews and it's like, oh, they only last like 30 minutes, what the fuck? And then people showing pictures of their chargers, you know, like when that they mount over to the wall socket or whatever, and it's like, oh, my battery's exploded and my charger's all melted. None of this works. And so, yeah, that kind of discourages me from getting rechargeable batteries. And I remember when I was a kid and I was playing on my Game Boy Advance, the purple one, you know, the one that ran on batteries, I also had rechargeable batteries for that. And those sucked. You can only play games for like an hour and then, like, you know, turn it off, charge them again. I'm pretty sure they took more than an hour to charge just for, like, you know, to play your old-ass Game Boy Advance games for like half as long as that time. Yeah. But, you know, all of these VR headsets, they all have their competition, you know. They all have their good parts and their bad parts. The good part of Valve is obviously the enormous tech specs and how highly advanced it all is. The problem is that the whole fucking combo with like the tracking lights and the controllers and the headset, that's gonna run you about $1,000. It's a lot of money. You can buy like a high-end smartphone with that kind of money. And so, yeah. And of course, you have the entire Steam catalog for you to play with, and more that constantly keep coming out. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to play in VR for that. But it's gonna run you a fuck ton of money. I would recommend like an HTC Vive or something like that first. And then for Oculus, the advantage is that it has a really nice design, a really nice build. The controllers are fantastic. The problem is that obviously it's a new company, new competition, owned by Facebook, so they're gonna want to have their own proprietary fucking launcher and their own store and stuff. They're just hoarding the you know, all that stuff for themselves. It's like mine. You got to do things through us, you know. And then on mixed reality, yeah, it works with everything, but it doesn't mean that it's perfect. You know, it's kind of like half as quality as all the other ones, and the battery life sucks on those controllers. So yeah, that's why I don't really play Skyrim VR or any other VR game all that often, because the batteries run out really quick, you know? So I play Space Pirate Trainer. I've played Sprint Vector, that game where you look like an idiot. That game is fucking impossible, by the way. I tried playing Sprint Vector. If you guys don't know what it is, it's a racing game, essentially, where you're, like, skating like Shadow the Hedgehog through all of these different tracks. And when you can get a groove going, it does actually kind of feel amazing. You get really tired very fast because there's a lot of arm movements that go into playing the game, and you have to, like, really move your arms back and forth really hard, like you really are running. And you have to do it constantly because otherwise you're not moving. And there's like different gestures for like braking and jumping and gliding and flying and climbing. It's actually kind of cool. But the problem is that, fuck, man, it's really tiring. And then when you see the tutorials of the guy on camera telling you this is how you're supposed to move to run, gosh, you look like such a fucking idiot. Thank God that I'm playing all these VR games alone in my house and not with company, because I would just look redunkadunk. I would have, like, you know, vertical videos recorded of me on Snapchat saying, look at this fucking idiot. Look at this little fool. And so, yeah, that would be the end of my career, of my illustrious and perfect career on the internet, you know? I get canceled immediately. But yeah, Sprint Vector, it can be fun if you get a hang of it, but my God, man, that game is really hard because you tire yourself out so quickly. And then, what other games? Oh, yeah, well, of course, you can't play VR without some VR porn, right? So I have this game called VR Paradise, and it's literally just a strip club. It's you know, you can buy it for free, I think. You can download it for free, and you can only get, like, a short little lap dance that doesn't, you know, really last a long time. And you have a thing for, like, private dances where they get, like, completely naked and stuff, but that's an extra cost. You gotta spend like $20 on it. And so, of course, I spent $20 on it, and I'm able to see it. I spent a lot of hours on that game, just watching girls dance. And yet, and the game is in early access as well, so they added a bunch of new features, like, oh, you can customize the girls' looks now, or you can Get rid of all the men characters, no bartender or anything. Just a bunch of options, like little events and stuff, like a Valentine's Day event and stuff like that, Chinese New Year event with a new character that comes in. It's actually kind of nice. And of course, Koakatsu, that's a good one for VR. VR Kanojo is a good one for VR. Yeah, VR is really exciting. I like it a lot. But anyway, back to the point at hand. Yeah, so I was on eBay searching for PSP Go's. Yeah, all of that, going all the way back around to what I was talking about before. I ordered a PSP Go for like $120 because it came with custom firmware and a whole bunch of other games pre-installed. This isn't to say that I don't have any games to play, far from it. I have a fuck ton of PlayStation 1 classics and a lot of PSP games that I want to play, and there's still a bunch of PSP games that I can buy even now, those games are always on sale all the time. And so, hold on, I want to make a turn here. There we go. Yeah, the exit to my place has like this enormous eel of cars, and I was looking for an opening, so apologize for the silence. I'm here trying to drive responsibly. I think on the simple fact that I'm here recording the podcast at the same time that I'm driving is already pretty irresponsible enough, but there were definitely a bunch of other PSP Go's that were way cheaper, that were like $70 or $80, but those were just empty. It was just the console, it had scratches on it, and on top of that, it did not come with the charging cable. So yeah, I am more than willing to spend like $100 just so that I could get the charging cable at the very least, because I know that the PSP Go comes integrated with internal storage memory. So even if the console was empty, like I would not care. Like I would be more than happy to insert, all of the games that I have on there, It's like 16 gigabytes or 32 gigabytes or whatever of internal storage memory, but I'm pretty sure you can buy memory cards or like SD cards or something for that PSP Go for you to shove in whatever games you want. And I'm pretty sure the PSP Go is very well known all across the internet as the easiest fucking console to hack. So it's super easy to have like NES, Super NES emulators, Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance. And God, if I had that on my fucking PSP Go, that would be awesome. And the one that I'm buying from this like Russian dude already comes with all that custom firmware. So I just gotta, poke at it and see what I can do with it. That would be awesome. I would love to just have a tiny little console that, slides all the buttons in and out. Like it's a PDA or a handheld or whatever, like a BlackBerry. That'd be cool. Just have all of my different games and consoles on there. And with those games are so old now, so like 16 gigabytes that the PSP Go comes with, like that in itself is already more than enough, And I can have like movies and pictures and a big clock. I can have Sonic the Hedgehog porn on there. I say that because I don't know why. There's a lot of different stories that I've heard of people buying used PSPs, and they're all full of pornography. I don't know why. Like on Reddit and shit, is like, oh, I bought this PSP and it came with a bunch of Sonic foot porn. and then I saw somebody on Twitter that said, oh, porn on PSP hits different, Definitely a product of its own time. The PSP did have an internet browser. You could legitimately just type in, Pornhub.com on your PSP and potentially be able to watch videos. I don't know, how updated it is on like Macromedia Flash Player or something like that, but yeah, or HTML5 or whatever. But yeah, I sincerely doubt you'll be able to get a lot of use out of it now. But yeah, I just got the email saying that it's shipping today, and I think the dude was Russian or whatever, so yeah, for sure, I think it's going to take a while before that console arrives, maybe by Monday or something, but as soon as I get it, I'm going to have a field day with it. And also, while I was at it, as I said, I was searching for Game Boy Advance SPs and Game Boy Micros, and the Game Boy Micros are surprisingly cheap. They're about as expensive as the PSP Go that I just bought, so maybe next month, maybe on the next payday that I get, I'll maybe put in some money on a Game Boy Micro so that I can just have it. Now, that one is legitimately just for my own fanboyism. That one is for me literally to just own it. And I'm not necessarily going to carry it around everywhere. I think the PSP Go is already going to do a a good enough job and possibly even a better job at you know, running all of those Game Boy Advance games, depending. God willing, all that custom firmware works. But, yeah. Okay. I'm here. I'm parked. I'm turning off everything. Car's turned off. And there we go. Gosh, did I seriously just spend all that time just talking about video games? Good. That's what I'm supposed to be talking about. This is the Nerdmobile, after all. But anyway, I guess that about does it for this episode. That was the whole story. It took me an hour just for me to tell you guys, hi, I bought a PSP Go on eBay, and I'm very excited. Yay. And I'm thinking of buying a Game Boy Micro as well. Yay. Because I've never had a Game Boy Micro, so I really want one. I'll play Mother 3 on that one again. And then what else? Is there anything else that I did? I bought Bleed 1 and 2 on Switch. Oh, I've been getting really addicted to this one racing game. I think it's called like Test Drive or something. Car the video game. It's something unlimited. You know, Test Drive or Drive Test something unlimited. And it's a game that is like for racing, but it's exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, which runs like shit, but man, it's fun as fuck. And there's even a second one, so hopefully that one has a better frame rate. I'm going to beat this first game and then maybe move on to the second one. It's expensive though, $60. Fuck. I bought those games on a sale for like $10, so yeah. But anyway, I'm here. I'm at home. I actually left work a little early today because on Wednesdays, I start an hour late and I leave an hour early. So that's awesome. So I'm gonna get, you know, a pretty decent amount of time to kind of just, you know, get myself some time to myself, relax, eat, you know, get some things in order. Right now, I'm just making a lot of thumbnails for a lot of videos that I have prepared for the YouTube channel and stuff. And I have all of the podcast episodes already edited for episodes 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I have to make the thumbnail for those and then upload them to the Patreon unlisted for backers and stuff. And then I'll make the video version of it and I'll upload them to the YouTube and I can schedule those. Because on Patreon, I can just upload the audio file and people can just download it from there. So I don't even have to do this whole thing that I do with the YouTube videos where I have to have it unlisted and then, you know, make it public whenever I want. With YouTube, I can just schedule them out and that'll be fine. So, yeah, and with episode 4 onward, I'll be actually showing off the new cover art that my brother made of me. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy that. I'll see you guys next time. Be sure to follow me everywhere. And, yeah, stay cool, stay awesome, and go and play your favorite video game. I know I will. I know I'll be having a lot of fun playing with my PSP Go because I've never had one. So I'm really excited. And if it's like a hacked PSP Go, then yeah, all of the floodgates are open. I think I'm going to buy myself a good, hefty memory card. Oh, I'm pretty sure I have. If they allow for SD cards, I think I have a couple of spare ones lying around somewhere in the house. So maybe I'll find some, see if I can do that. And if not, then nowadays, like a 64 gig one isn't really all that expensive anymore. But yeah, I'll see what I can do about that. I'm super excited for this one. For an old, used console from like 10 years ago, from an irrelevant console. But hey, that's just me. That's just me. It's because of the PlayStation Vita, you know, because I was able to play PS1 and PSP games on there. And a lot of it is me catching up with a lot of these games. So yeah, and there's a lot of really good games. There's Persona 2, Persona 3, you know, there's the Legend of Heroes games on there, Trials in the Sky 1 and 2. Yeah, there's a lot for me to play, especially in the RPG side of things. So yeah, why not? Let's start. And there's a lot of games that are like compilations, like the Capcom Classic Collection or something. Metal Slug Anthology. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's fucking go, man. I'm good to go. BlazBlue 1 and 2 on PSP. Whew. Yes, I'm going to have a field day with this one, man. I don't know. Fuck you guys if you think this is, like, stupid. I think this is awesome. I'm super happy about this. And the first thing I'm going to do is, like, download, like, Mother 3 or Pokemon Pinball. All of the Pokemons on there. All right. See you later, guys. Bye.